Welcome back to the San Diego Small Business Spotlight. I'm Rachel Rocconi, and my guest here today, we go way back.
Yes, we do.
Like 15 years?
Yeah, it's crazy to even think
At least
about.
a decade.
Yeah, for sure, a decade.
Shout out to Kitsap County. Tell us who you are, what you do.
Well, my name is Joseph Octaviani. I am an herbalist. I am an educator. I love to teach people about the land, how to get in connection with the land, how to get people in connection with their bodies, and what plants and resources that the earth provided that we can use to bring balance back to our bodies. I think that would be the gist of it.
And how did your business get started?
So my business started in Jamul. And for those of you who don't know, it's east of San Diego. It's out in the mountains in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
And it started in my mom's guest bedroom of Jamul. It was pandemic time. And so I was working Uber, but I had lost everything with the pandemic happening. So I was just in my room at like 2 or 3 in the morning. And I'm watching all these herb videos and stuff. I'm like, I want to do something. Life the Plant Way, the name literally popped up. I made the logo on Canva in like a minute.
Love Canva.
Right? Everything just kind of came together. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know what it was, but I was like, wow, this actually looks kind of cool. Let me do something with this, you know? And so that's how it ties into San Diego, because that area, I was doing Uber in San Diego every single day. I was just inspired by, one, the kind of like relaxed, free living that they lived out there. And I was like, I want this. This is literally my dream.
Yeah.
To be that hippie guy on the beach, not doing anything, because he has like 2 or 3 businesses.
There we go.
Handling it, you know? So that's how it ties into San Diego. If I would even to go back to when I was I'm gonna bring it way back to when I was a child. My parents and my grandparents in Puerto Rico, they're all farmers, and they're all either herbalists or they mess with plants some way and somehow. And me being a city boy, I always rejected it. And so I always used to think it was just some country stuff that we were doing, driving through the mountains and stuff like that. Every single summer we would go. It wasn't until I got older until I started to appreciate it. And I realized, like, wow, you guys I'm kind of stepping into that role right now, you know? And then when I got to the hospital, that's when, a light bulb clicked. I'm like, wait, your family already knows about natural stuff. You are in desperate need for something, because whatever medical was just not working. And I was always F the man anyway. So, when I found that there was an alternative, I automatically I felt comfortable with it. I trusted it, and so it wasn't until I got out of the hospital, that's when kind of like the journey really started of utilizing the plants for my own needs. I would say a couple years later, my son being born, me wanting to go out fully into the world of business and, teach people what I knew, because I was just so, childlike about it, every plant I'm like, hey, did you know this? Did you know this? So I was so passionate about it. And so it was about the year after COVID. That's when kind of like a couple light bulbs, clicked on. One is that people are seeking a natural way. 2, I already have all this knowledge. And 3, I have a child. I need a business. I can't be doing this 9-to-5 stuff. So, it was a combination of kind of everything, but definitely the surgery kickstarted pretty much everything.
So you had a need for yourself, and then you figured out this made sense for you. It would probably make sense for everybody else.
For sure. I realized how many people are suffering too. I realized how many people are not only suffering, but don't speak up about their suffering.
True.
And that was me. I was legit thrown into the hospital because I was going to pass out. I mean, I did pass out in the hospital from pain. And I had held it for about 3 years, ever since graduating high school.
Wow.
The summer of graduating high school, the day of my birthday that year, actually, I remember the exact moment that this cyst that I had started to form. And I remember it because I felt it. I felt weird in my body. Something's not right. I Googled it. It said I wasn't going to die. So I was just like, whatever, I'm 18 at the time. I don't have insurance. Out of sight, out of mind. Push it away, keep it moving. So it was broke as a joke. So there was no way I even had insurance to do any of that. And then my pride. I wasn't going to let anybody know I was hurting. I was okay. I was fine until I wasn't,
That's tough.
It was very tough. So I hit rock bottom. And from there, I realized a lot of people either, 1, are on their way to rock bottom and still aren't speaking up, or 2, are sick and tired of being sick and tired and already
Yeah.
hit rock bottom, and they're looking for a way out. So that's kind of what fueled me. Like, wait, there's so many more people like me.
Yeah.
You know,
I've seen all of the testimonies that people have shared after experiencing life the plant way.
Yeah.
So you really have made a difference. Do
Thank
you
you.
feel like you've always been an entrepreneur? What led you to that?
I was always a hustler. I was never an entrepreneur. Huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are hustlers. They'll do anything to get that last dollar
Yep.
real quick, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that was my case because I was homeless actually when I was living over there when you actually met me.
I did not know that.
Most people didn't. I was homeless my entire senior year, the year after and the year after. I was homeless from 18 to 21.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I was always a hustler. I was always going to get money. I was always going to get a place to stay,
Yeah.
you know, something. And I didn't realize the difference between an entrepreneur until a couple months before starting Life the Plant Way. Okay. I had tried to start different businesses. Mm-hmm. I was a creative. I was doing different things to make some cash on the side.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, I have his artwork in my bathroom.
Do you really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Thank you. That's so cool. But yeah, I always did things to get money to showcase my talents in some way. But I never thought generationally.
Yeah.
I never thought bigger picture. I never thought legalities and paperwork and, you know, this and that, right? And so that didn't really click in me until a couple months, that year leading up to Life the Plant Way being born, really. I was just knee deep in the books and the podcast, YouTube University, quite literally everything I could find that I could afford at the time. Yeah, I kind of accumulated all of that knowledge, and I'm a doer. So I just said, F it, let me just do it. Made a lot of mistakes on the way, but that's
as
everybody.
We do in life.
Yeah, that's everybody.
I think going back to just starting the business itself, people don't realize how much goes into it with like getting an LLC or some type of entity and like getting everything set up, protecting yourself. So for those who actually even make it past that step, like that gets a lot of people caught up.
You probably see it a lot now because you're doing the business buying and stuff and selling.
Yeah.
So it's like, wait, you want to sell your business, you don't even have the structure set up, you know? So I'm sure you're seeing
it's like a commingled structure where their lease is under one name and then their business license is under another name. And then when we get into escrow, it's all kind of messed up. So getting everything in order is a challenge in itself.
That's where mentors come in though. That's where help comes in.
Yes.
And that was a big thing. I feel like probably the main differentiator when it comes to Life the Plant Way and all the other business, things that I did was finding help, putting money towards help, putting money to finding mentors or just advisors. I used to let me just do this myself. Let me file myself. Let me do everything myself, you know? Until I realized I don't know something, and then that hinders me. And then it makes me give up, you know? So with Life the Plant Way, after all the YouTube University and all the IG gurus and all this type of stuff, like some of the things they said made sense. And that was one of them, like get a mentor, get a network, get people that know what you're doing, you know, emulate people that are already doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that is so tough, but so crucial because you have to spend money to make money. But also there's so many people out there selling courses and like, you know, you can get sucked into that. Like, oh, I'm going to pay $10,000 for this course. And like, does it actually offer you value? So I think people also have to do their due diligence.
For sure.
You know, like,
for me, I was always like, I can get as minimal as possible, and I'm literally just going to do it. You know, you tell me how to do this. If I don't have enough money to get all the details, I'm going to find out all the details. You told me the road. That's cool. I might, you know, go around some obstacles, but at least you showed me the road. Thank you. And I'll learn from here. Until you make enough money to where, you know, you can kind of have a nicer road in front of you.
Yeah, everything's easier when you got the pockets to support it, but
that's true.
Success is not linear either.
For sure. And yeah, I learned that just leading up to Life the Plant Way. One of the biggest failures I had when it came to business before this one was I tried to start a pancake business and I wanted to sell pancakes. Everybody and their mom told me that my pancakes were amazing. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I should start charging people, you know, naturally, that's what we think. And I did not know any legalities, and it's just food. So there's a lot of like red tape everywhere.
Yep.
And I'm in Hollywood. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna pop a table down. I'm just gonna cook pancakes, you know.
Yeah.
And that was my business plan, and it went according to plan for the first couple of weeks until you realize, like, wait, this is not really legal. You know, I can't really be doing this.
Yeah.
And then the owners of the businesses around me, they're actually starting to complain. They're starting to get annoyed because I have a line now.
Snitches.
You snitch? Oh no, they really snitched on me. Some guy came out and was like, hey, you can't be taking people's customers, and where's your sink? Where's your that? Where's your this? Like, okay, you got to get out of here. It was somebody actually from like the county or the state or the city or whatever. And so
health department maybe.
Yeah, the health. Yeah, exactly. And this was at like midnight, dude.
Oh wow.
I was doing it to club goers.
Oh.
That was my whole plan. Let me go to the clubs.
Yep.
Let me make this stuff at late night, right? Yeah. I make a couple $100s every weekend. And he shut me down. And that actually set me back a good while. Like mentally, it set me back a long time. Because then the thoughts started to creep in, like the world is against me. Like this is, this is not fair. Like all I want to do is just this. I had a child at the time. So I'm like really just kind of desperate for anything to pop. But I ended up learning so much because then I was like, okay, before I start this one, I have to get my ish straight. Yeah. So I guess it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. And fast forwarding to today, you have 700,000 followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
People know your brand. They see your face all over TikTok, all over social media.
For sure.
What's been your biggest mama I made it moment?
It first came when I was able to hire my mom.
Aww.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
We were in a position where I was able to hire her. She was doing some like customer service stuff. She was complaining about her job. I said, Mom, screw that. Wow. I'm gonna hire you here type thing. And thankfully she kind of has like gone the entrepreneurial route ever since. So that kind of sparked a change in her.
Yeah.
That was my first one, but really I was thinking about this question a lot. And really I have that moment every single day. Not to be cliche or to, but I have that moment every day when I wake up at random times with my kids. I'm at the most random parks and there are no dads around. It's just usually the house moms and stuff. And I'm like, you know how cool this is?
It's a blessing for sure.
To be able to just be here on a Tuesday afternoon while everybody's hustling and bustling at work. My parents wish they could have provided this for us,
Yeah.
And so I would say, every single day I find a moment like that. It's usually revolving my time freedom, my thought freedom, being able to say and quite literally being able to say anything I want, and the freedom just to be with my kids.
I love that.
For sure.
Yeah, I think in movies you see like the hardworking parent and they're just not spending any time with their kid, and then one day they have this like regret. Oh, I wish I was around more. So
I learned that at a very young age, extremely young age. I learned that before I even had kids because I had that. Both of the parents were working.
Yeah.
And so it was always, I guess we don't really think about it as kids. It's just kind of normal to us. But, as I got older, I knew before I even had a kid, that's not something I want to expose them to. And so when I did have a kid, some of that desperation did kick in, I don't want to work this corporate. I want to see my son. I want to be able to see him every single day. And that's actually one of the reasons why I kind of like quit the 9-to-5 corporate world and went the Uber route, because it just gave me all my time, and super grateful for something like that.
These days, with all of the different side hustles that people do end up turning into careers, it gives them the freedom to live on their own terms, work when they want to work, not have to report to anybody. And that is very powerful.
You get your time, you get your mind back. I was listening to business podcasts throughout my trip. I was listening to motivational things, audiobooks. I spent all of that time really studying. And if it wasn't studying there, I was talking to people and building relationships and just getting wisdom. And there's a couple of things that people said to me that I still have not forgotten to this day. Some random musician dude, he's talking about he's doing stuff for all these famous artists or whatever. Me, I don't really care, but I'm like, dude, this is so cool. Wow, shout out to you.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you have any advice for me? Just one piece of advice before I drop you off. And he said, be so good at something that people cannot tell you no. And that stuck with me till this day, because now I'm like you said, my brand is out there, my face is out there. And when it comes to this niche, people just can't say no.
Yeah.
People can't really say, he doesn't really know what he's talking about. And so that piece of advice sticks with me every single day.
Yeah. And you've also seen it work so many times. So it's like, you can't tell me I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, it's working for all these people.
Yeah.
So.
That was a big challenge for me to overcome.
Mm.
Huge challenge for me. It's kind of like imposter syndrome.
Yep.
Wait, is this really real? Am I really doing that? Like, I remember when I first started, it was just between me, right? And then it transformed into my family in the house. Oh, you have this issue? Like, let me whip this up for you. And then my friends, and then, it kind of goes from word of mouth, and then it becomes bigger and I spread it to the world. But when I was just even spreading it with my friends and family, I would check up on them, like, hey, did that work for you? Are you okay? Like, what I mean? And knowing I've used this herb, this has been used for thousands of years. Why are you so nervous that it's not going to work all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Right. I had a mentor and she was like, you have to trust the medicine. You're not trusting the medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think this is you doing, like, you have to do everything and you have to be in control of everything. Right. You can't just give it to them and let go. And I had to learn that very early on, to just trust the medicine. I can only do so much. I can only introduce it to you, maybe bring it to your hands. But after that, it's between you and the medicine. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that was a huge challenge for me to overcome, was kind of that imposter syndrome.
I think a lot of people deal with it. And from the outside looking in, you would never expect it, because people, think, oh, they're doing so well. They got their shit together.
Yeah.
And then you're like, do I have my shit together?
Did you go through that?
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah. All the time. Diving into the medicine, tell us something that people should know, but they don't want to hear.
The same system that enslaved us, that brought genocide to us, that erased our cultures, erased our own medicine, cannot be the same people that we go to for medicine.
Ooh, that's deep.
That's the biggest, that's probably the biggest one that I can think of at the moment. Is you can't rely on the same people that are bringing you that pain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we have this kind of like addictive relationship. I understand, because of all the propaganda and the brainwashing and stuff like that, is that we view them, and them, I mean, kind of like the medical system, we view them almost as like godlike. Where they can do no wrong.
Answer to everything.
Answer to everything. They can do no wrong. But if we look at the stats, actually, what is it? The third highest cause of death is medical malpractice.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Look it up, folks.
That is wild.
And it's also the same industry that is, if you look at the top 5 or even just the top 10 industries in the United States, if it comes to health and something medical related, it's top. It's at the top. It's trillions of dollars into the medical field.
Yeah.
And so the same person, or the same people that we're investing trillions of dollars into, are the same people who are responsible for most of our deaths.
Yeah.
Right. And so wild. The math ain't mathin', right? And so that, I feel like that's the biggest thing that people just don't want to accept, or they really just are blinded to it. And that's part of my mission, is to wake people up to that. Not even notice how I say medical system, I don't say doctors, because a lot of people be like, oh, the doctor wants to kill you. Really, I'm a person who is, I give people the benefit of the doubt. People only know what they know.
Yeah.
Right. So they're just not aware. They seriously think this thing that they're recommending is the greatest thing on earth.
Or the only option.
Or the only option, just because of what they've been told and what they know. So they know what they know.
I was watching one of your videos recently, and you brought up something that I never really thought about before. You said every emotion that you have can be tied into something that's going wrong in your body.
Yeah, every single emotion. So everything has a spiritual body, an energetic body, and a physical body. So these plants that you're looking at, they have an aura to them. They have an energy to them, right? They have something that we can't see. And so it's the same thing with our bodies. It's the same thing within our bodies with every organ, right? It has the physical, and then it has the energetic and emotional and spiritual. And so knowing that, you can tie certain emotions to certain areas of your body. And our ancestors talked about this, especially Western or Eastern medicine. They've talked about this for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like the liver being the seat of all anger, right? When they say you're mad, your blood boils. When in reality, the liver holds a majority of the blood, a majority of the time throughout the day. And when you're mad, your blood is boiling. What's going to be affected? Your liver. Right. So when you're able to kind of like make all these connections, then I'm able to pinpoint kind of what's going on in your body just based off of like the emotional problems you're kind of having. Chronically angry, chronically anxiety, chronic depressed, chronic, right? If it's just sitting there, it's like, okay, something is stagnant.
What's the root of it?
What's the root of it? Well, let's find out where that emotion is kind of sitting in the body and just staying stagnant. You know what I mean?
Fascinating.
Yeah, it is really, really cool. And it's also, I love that approach because it's a non-invasive approach, which is completely opposite of what we're used to, right? When I was able to learn about the organs, I was able to tie that kind of like modern understanding of things and then go back to see if any of these ancient cultures talked about it. And yeah, Eastern medicine was a big one for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have personally used your products. And
oh, nice.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot you have. Okay,
yes.
Okay.
And actually, so my first child, she had to have surgery last year. And of course, I was a nervous wreck about, her recovery. After she had her CCL surgery, she was on all different types of prescription medicine. And I remember you said, try out this bone repair. Not just humans.
Did you actually use it?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Of course I used it. Yeah, put it in her little water every day.
Yeah.
Not only can humans benefit from herbal medicine, but pets can as well.
Pets, plants, babies, your grandma, right? Pregnant women, like
doesn't discriminate.
It does not discriminate because at the end of the day, I keep it simple. Every herb has a certain action in the body. And regardless of what that body is, it's going to have the same action, right? So as long as you figure out what actions are needed. So in Luna's case, it was bone repair, right? It was kind of like bone growth. And there are herbs out there that stimulate bone growth. Yeah. Even the people that they don't really deem safe to take herbs, like newborns and pregnant women and really elderly people, it's everything safe. It's all about dosage. It's all about knowing how much to give them or how to administer it too, because there's some herbs that you don't take internally. Right? I wouldn't go and give my newborn something internally. I'll probably do it topically. Okay. Right? So it's all about knowing how to administer it, how much to administer, and then what action it has on the body. And you can heal, anything, in my opinion.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Talk about who your dream client would be.
My dream client would be the person that I was when I was in the hospital. And that was the one being sick and tired of being sick and tired and not having a trust for the current way that we deal with health. Yeah. Because when I was in the hospital, I'll remember this to the day I die. What that switch that happened internally was I was very constipated because I had taken pain meds. I never in my life have taken any type of meds before. But I had a cyst in me. It was about to erupt. Things were going wrong. So I was just screaming for pain meds for days. And I was constipated for like 3 days. And then the pain meds bloat you. And I'm looking pregnant. And I was just in pain, just crying. And nothing's helping because the constipation pills aren't helping. And this is right. So
it's kind of like a circle too.
It's a circle. Yeah. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. And I remember a voice whispered into me. And it said, "You're lactose intolerant. Drink milk." Something as simple as that. Went to go get milk, chugged it, relieved myself.
Wow.
And within 2-3 minutes. And we spent days dealing with this, right? And at that moment, I remember I'm like, you guys can't fix ish. I remember that. I'm like, this system literally.
Y'all got all these degrees and you didn't think about that?
Yeah. I'm saying, like, right? Yeah. And that's what clicked in me. I'm like, okay, I need an alternative. That's why my brand is so big on education. Like if you buy a bundle from us, you're getting at least 5 or 6 different postcards just teaching you about stuff and ebooks. Just let me teach you about everything so you're comfortable with everything.
I love that.
But yeah, that would be my ideal client.
Okay. Now, what if you got an order from somebody and your mind would just be like blown?
What do you mean?
Like celebrity or like...
Oh, okay. We've had a couple. I'm not going to name drop anybody, but we've had a couple of those.
You can tell me off camera.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I feel like the ones that blow my mind the most are the ones in different countries. It's like, how did you, what?
That's crazy.
All across the world, like Australia, the UK, New Zealand, South Africa,
Wow.
are our biggest international. It's not just like a one-time thing. This is like every single either week or every multiple times a month where we get it all over the world. And we haven't done the official count yet, but last time I checked, this was like almost 2 years ago. We reached at least 30 something countries.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I'm sure it's more now, but just being able to reach across the globe is something that blows my mind. Because like, how did you even hear about me? You know, and that goes for the power of the internet,
power of social media. Yeah. So we talked a little bit about this, but speaking of that, how do you deal with trolls? Haters.
The trolls and the haters. I had to learn very quickly that you cannot respond to people who are not showing you love. And I learned that the hard way because I remember, I'll never forget this either. I don't even know who this guy was. Probably have never seen him in one of my lives again, but I was on a live and somebody had said something that triggered me. And I went on like a whole like 5-10 minute rant because I can talk. And I'll never forget, this guy checked me. He was like, hey, how about you spend all this time talking to the people who show you support and not the people who don't want to see you succeed. And I'm like, damn, you're right. This whole 10 minutes, I could have been answering people's questions. I could have been, actually helping somebody. And I'm spending this entire time kind of defending myself when I don't have to. Responding to hate that probably came from, not probably, for sure came within themselves. And I'm like, I could have been spending that whole time doing something productive and constructive. So after that, I'll never forget that guy. If he watches, shout out to you. But this was legit like 3 years ago. And ever since then, I always have that in my mind. Now, there's some times where I do respond just because I'm a human. And, I talk my stuff sometimes. But what's cool is that it's never happened in person. And I have to remind myself, like, they would never speak to you like this. Never would speak to you like this in person. I'm usually, if you see me, I'm smiling with my family, baby in hand. You will never talk to me like this. And so I had to step back and, realize that, like, one, this is not real. Social media, at the end of the day, even though we use it, it's still kind of like a figment of our imagination. It's still not really real. There's real people on there, but the whole environment, not really real. So I had to, get myself to understand that. And then after I got during the moment of being like canceled, I had to sit with myself and say, you will not fall into that temptation of responding, defending yourself, responding to the comments, or even watching the videos. Because that was a big thing for me. Hey, did you hear about what they said about you? No, I did not. I don't watch any videos. If something gets mentioned, if we do get mentioned sometimes, I'll instantly go to that person's profile. If they are not following me, I am not watching. Because if you have something to say about me, you're not following me, you obviously don't know enough about me to say something about me.
Okay, unbothered king.
You know what I mean? But it took me a while to be that unbothered. The first year, it was very much so just like responding to everybody and everything. And I got time today, and it's like, I really don't.
I mean, it always amazes me how many people are on these platforms just to hate and just to like find something. I'm like, you really taking time out your day.
0 posts, blank face. But you got enough time
all the time.
That is crazy to me. On private, like, come on, bro.
But those are the type of people that kind of like sit in their negativity. And I truly believe what you water will grow. So, if you're all about the positivity and manifesting great things for your life, that's what you're going to get. But if you're being a hater all day, then you're going to be surrounded by some hater energy. And
like you said, what you're watering is going to grow. They're watering my page. When I thought about that, I'm like, wait, your comments are getting my engagement
up.
Come through engage. There's times where, I guess, hold on, one of the mama I made it moments was when I saw multiple people arguing in my comments. This is a I made it moment, like, I must be somebody. I realized, like, wait, it's just getting my engagement up. I don't have to respond to it. I don't have to go and block it. I don't have to do nothing, because most of the time, especially nowadays, when you are a person that is just sharing light, sharing love, you're literally just doing this because you love it and you're doing this for the betterment of the world, people will come to your defense.
Yeah.
And I get that all the time. I have my little squatter. I don't have a name for him, you know. But,
we need to come up with a name.
Right? We might need to come up with a name for him. But I have my peoples, and they'll defend me. You know what I mean?
That is very
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. If you had either the option to have a guaranteed $1 million, or you could flip a coin for a chance at $1 billion, what would you do?
I'm taking the million
every
time. One, I know of a lot of things I would do with $1 million, you know, and you said $1 billion. I don't think I ever aspired to make that much money in my life.
Yeah.
Because there's too much that has to go into it.
Yeah.
I'm an entrepreneur, but at the end of the day, I don't like working. And
feel that.
You know, so it's like to get to $1 billion, sleepless nights, hustle and bustle, all this type of stuff, grinding day in, day out. It's
or you're taking advantage of the little people.
Yeah, or you're taking advantage, not even just like utilizing them. No, you're taking advantage of them. You cannot get to $1 billion without having, you know what I mean? So it's like your margins must be really, really a little too good,
right?
You know, to reach that $1 billion. So for sure, that million would feed me and a lot of other people for a long time.
Yeah.
I would definitely, I know of a couple ways to flip that for sure.
There we go. Turn it into more.
For sure.
I love it. So the Seed of Life the Plant Way started in San Diego and has only blossomed from here.
Yes.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Bye.